Hey everybody, I know me earlier just gave a message very similar to what I'm about to do. My recording with the guest today, James, randomly my computer just turned off. Luckily the interview was savable, but it abruptly ends. So it's not you, it was literally me. I think I figured out my problem with my computer, so all should be good. It shouldn't happen. I anyways went and bought a laptop just to be sure if it kept happening. So here we go. Buckle up and let's enjoy the ride.
Welcome to the Josh Bolton Show, where we dive into interesting and inspiring conversations. And now, your host, Josh Bolton.
How long have you been doing this, the podcasting?
6 months now.
Okay. How's it going?
Good. Consistent growth up. I've gotten so many interesting and eclectic guests that it feels like it's been 2 years now.
Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. How do you like to approach these things?
So I usually try to approach it more of a casual conversation instead of a, you get the best. It sounds mean and malicious, but you get the best information out of people when you're just casual and just chatting.
Sure. No, I get it. And I don't think it's mean and malicious. It's just smart. I mean,
right. Yeah. One of my guests was like, "Oh, that seems kind of mean." I'm like, "Well, I mean, when you say it like that, yeah, it kind of is, but."
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, people come on these things because they want to share what they're doing and what they've got, and it seems a pretty reasonable format. Is there anything now you've had a chance to look at the information that I sent you? Do you have any questions or anything you want to talk about?
Hang on, let me pull that up because I was looking at your the list of things we could go over, like bringing context insanity to marketing, the overwhelmingness of it.
Yeah, digital marketing. My audience is small business owners.
Okay.
Our product is a website done through a subscription service.
Okay.
And so small business owners are coming to us because, contrary to what the fashion model and the TV ad said, it's not that easy. And they've attempted to have a website built by their local franchise of fly-by-night web dev, and that didn't work out well either. So our premise is our fundamental business is building large custom websites for corporations. So we've got the skills and knowledge to do this thing at a high level. We build many websites with six-figure budgets. So we have the skills. So what we've tried to do is create a product that will allow small business owners to access our skills. And one of the things I hear from these small business owners is they want to use digital marketing, but they get overwhelmed by it. It's so complicated. There are so many snake oil salesmen running around telling them that they need to do this and they need to do that, and they pay a bunch of money and don't get much of anything as terms of result. So I've come up with, and this is something I've been using for, probably 15 or 20 years. It's a pretty common idea, this hub and spoke concept. But when I explain it to small business owners, their light bulbs go off. It starts to make sense. And it's about the connection between the pieces is what gives them all power. When you deal with each individual piece as an individual thing, it's nice and all that, but it doesn't have nearly the power as it would have if it's connected together with your content strategy, which is the rim, the different media tactics, which are the spokes, and then the website is the hub.
That's so true. Like I was actually just talking to someone earlier, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm getting into business, this and that." And I'm like, "Okay, what's your marketing plan? What's your SEO ranking agenda? Because it's not going to be overnight."
Right.
I like, "What's your this and this?" And she's like, "What?" I'm like, "That's just marketing. We haven't even gone into sales, the niche. Like, what are you thinking of doing?"
Right. The truth of the matter is that's the easy part. The marketing is the hard part.
It is.
Building the website. What we do is especially easy for us is because we do it all the time. But that's the easy part. And I counsel folks all the time that building the website's the easy bit. Getting traffic to come to the website, that's a whole different conversation.
Oh, yeah. And I've noticed that in the 6 months, I've had some SEO guys like you on too. And they're like, yeah, your site's ranked well, but they're like, it could be better. And I'm like, well, I don't know. So explain this to me.
Yeah. No, I must admit I had a look at yours too and came to the same conclusion.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, one of my guests, God, it was like back in February when I was first starting, she literally told me, like, I will not associate with someone unless they have a website. I'm like, I'm just starting. Am I already supposed to cough up that much money kind of thing?
Yes, it doesn't necessarily need to be that much money. That's one of the other things that I find is because they're ignorant, small business owners get taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
They get sold stuff they don't need. They pay too much for things that really shouldn't be that expensive.
Right.
And, I see this all the time. I mean, one of the reasons I created Innately was, ClickFunnels. I mean, oh my God, they charge so much.
Right. For
something that any well-built native WordPress site can do out of the box.
Oh, 100%. Like for me, I was just in a hurry. So I bought the domain and I bought Wix. Mm-hmm. And it was just one of those, I was like, okay, like it looks like it pairs well with Google, it'll rank well. And then like the SEO person that came on to like, they essentially said like, Wix is so bad for many things. So like if you're just needing like a gallery, fine, it'll work. But they're like, that's all it's really good for.
60% of our subscribers to Innately have come to us from either Wix or Squarespace.
Mm-hmm. And that's where, like for me, I've now, like, that's why my site looks like it is. I just stripped it to the bones. Like if you're looking, you want the about, you got all that, but it's like, I'm trying to figure out how to transition to WordPress or Cortana. This one guy I do every Thursday. He does mentoring for SEO and ranking, and that's he has a system like that. His is more for the funnels and the sales.
Right. Yeah, I know what Cortana is.
Okay.
And it's like I said, if a WordPress site can do everything that they're charging for basically the same cost. I mean, if you look at our pricing, you'll find that it is absolutely in line with what you'd pay for ClickFunnels or Cortana or anything else. Only you get a full website, not just a marketing funnel.
You know what, James? Let's just keep going. Can you just give a quick introduction of yourself and then we pick up from there?
Sure. I'm James. Used to be Tall, Dark, and James, and then we had children. I've been involved in marketing and advertising for more than 40 years. Started with a New York agency that is now defunct called Ted Bates, and have traveled all over the world. This is our fourth country and third continent in the past 30 years.
That's awesome.
So I've worked on at a high level with major Fortune 50 brands, new product launches, all kinds of different things. And in the last 10 years, I've been focusing on website development. I bought a company 10 years ago that was one of our vendors. I did the digital marketing for Toyota for a period of time. And now I've been doing websites for the past 10 years, primarily large custom websites, but we also have a product now called Innately, INN8LY, that is designed specifically for small businesses. And this is our focus right now is providing our level of expertise and knowledge to small business owners who understand that they need to be online, but are frustrated by how complicated and difficult it appears to be.
Yeah. That was like I was talking about earlier, that is the one thing I didn't realize about getting into this. I thought it was just going to be fun, get to talk to cool guys like you. But then I'm like, oh, there's so much more to this, like cogs and gears than it was just one of those. I'm like, oh, well, maybe I should slow down. and actually fix the other gears up.
Well, and that's a common thing. I hear this frequently from small business owners. What I recommend almost always is don't try to boil the ocean.
Right.
Pick one or two things, do them well, and let the other stuff go for a bit. And then once you've got those one or two things working for you, then you can add something else into the mix. The truth of the matter is most people are struggling with this, and this is especially true with small business owners. So you only need to be 10% better than everyone else, and you will rise to the surface.
That's the biggest one I noticed. I didn't like, I don't like to toot my own horn or kind of thing, but a lot of people are like, oh, you're very professional. You're on it. You're better than most. And I'm like, but it's just efficient. It's more efficient to give you the calendar link kind of thing and figure out what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
I also have you tell me, because I get so many people coming, like, what do you want to talk about? So I can figure out my questions like the day beforehand. And they're like, yeah, most people just like last second figure out what to do. I'm like, that's really annoying, actually. So,
well,
but yeah, the moral of that was just they're like, you're on it. I'm like, it's just, I gotta just get the basics. Like, it's just keep going. Like, don't stop and be like, oh, so how's your cat? It's like, I'll figure out your cat later. Just keep going, kind of thing.
Well, and there is a lot of misinformation running around in the digital marketing space. Unfortunately, it has a relatively low cost of entry, so there's a lot of people claiming that they know what they're talking about, and in fact, they don't. And it's frustrating for small business owners because they want to do this, but they don't know what they don't know. And
right.
We see this frequently. They get sold stuff they don't need. They pay too much for things. They're doing the wrong things in the wrong order. The key piece that we talk about and when helps small business owners recognize and put the pieces together is that it doesn't operate in isolation. It's the connection that makes the power. It's the connection that really makes things effectively. And we use the analogy of a wheel. So you've got the hub, which is the website. You've got spokes, which is the digital marketing channels that you're using, whether that's email or Facebook, organic social media or paid social media or any of the other media channels that you might want to use. And then you have the rim, which brings it all together, which is your content and messaging strategy. When you bring the pieces together, you have something that's very powerful. When they're just individual things that you're doing, they're nice, but they don't have nearly the impact that they would have if you brought them together.
So what are some of the air quote gurus you were mentioning earlier saying that they actually have no idea what they're doing for digital marketing?
Well, I remember being involved in a meeting recently with one of our customers, and he had these two young guys out of San Diego, I think it was, that they were digital marketing experts. And I said to Bobby afterwards, wearing a hoodie and having a dark room does not make you a digital marketing expert. You have to actually know what you're talking about.
Right.
And they clearly did not. They used a lot of jargon and a lot of technical terms, but anyone with depth of knowledge is going to quickly understand they were a mile wide and a millimeter deep. At the end of the day, small business owners have very simple needs. They need bums through doors. If you can bring customers through their door in whatever form you can, they'll be on that all day long. You can't get overwhelmed with too much technical talk.
Right. Yeah. As we're talking right now, I'm like looking at your website as you're explaining all that. You have a really actually fair and like to the point setup of everything you offer, like your basic package of everything. And like one of the gurus, it was actually, I think he was started on Fiverr, then he did his own thing. He offered he claimed he could do all that you're offering, but for $10,000.
Right.
And I just sat there. I'm like, okay, the price doesn't match. Like, I get it if you're paying for expertise, like $1,000, maybe $2,000, but 10,000, you better be like giving me a free something extra, not just.
Well, oftentimes you get into the higher price points. It's not the website in particular that is driving the cost. It's the integrations with third-party platforms.
Oh no, he didn't do shit.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about. The snake oil salesman,
right?
Website's a really important thing. I mean, the pandemic has really brought this forward and sped this process up. If you look at during the height of the pandemic, the GDP was down around 20%.
It was.
But if you look inside those numbers, online sales were up over 20%, which meant that GDP would have been even worse. But that genie's not going back in the bottle.
Oh, no.
So many people were forced to try online shopping for the first time, particularly older audiences, and discovered, oh my God, this is easy. I mean, I order things and it shows up at my doorstep, and they're not going back. No. So it's become more and more important for small businesses to have a legitimate online presence. I mean, it's a hard sell. I have this conversation frequently with retailers. Well, isn't my storefront the hub of my hub and spoke system? And I'm like, I'm sorry, it's not. Your retail space is a spoke.
It is.
Because that's just one of the ways, and not even the most common way, that your customers are going to interact with you.
And especially with the Gen Zers, just literally buying, I mean, it's not, I sound like an old person, but it's like buying unknown sizing of shoes or shirts online. It's like, that's when like something like Walmart or Target's helpful, because it's like you can try it on, make sure it fits, compared to buying like, I was going to buy something on Alibaba. This is what gave me the idea. And they didn't explain that their sizing was in Asian.
Right.
So I was like, oh, I'll buy, I'm like a size large. So like their correlation to large is this one. And then there was a guy in the comments that said, it's Asian. You're going to have to order like the one they don't even have listed if you're a bigger guy, bigger shoulders. I'm like, oh. But see, like the Gen Zers would just buy it and be like, oops, just send it back or just keep it. And it's like, come on. Like do a little research kind of thing.
Well, and that's where understanding your audience, another common mistake I see is the copy that's written on websites is what I call inside out. It's all about themselves. This is what we do, all of our features, all of our attributes, all the stuff, the cool stuff we do.
The what, but not the why, correct?
Well, it needs to be outside in, because the person who's arriving at the website, with all respect, doesn't really care. No. They want a solution to their problem. If you can communicate on a web page that you I understand your problem and this is how we go about solving it, that's going to resonate with a consumer. And it's a mistake made frequently. I call it the 5-second rule. Every page in a website, you need to do 3 things in 5 seconds or less. It's a lot of things and not very many seconds.
Yeah.
You need to tell them they're in the right place. You need to give them a benefit-oriented reason to stay. And you need to make it crystal clear what they should do next. And if you go to an average web page and you see, oh my God, there's like 15 things in the navigation and like 75 messages on the homepage, and what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to take away from this? And, it's a common mistake that we see frequently. And it's the sort of thing that we love to help small businesses sort through, getting their words outside in versus inside out.
So what I was picking up there, and correct me if I'm wrong, was Simon Sinek start with why kind of thing?
Yeah, no, well, it needs to start with what's in it for me from
Okay.
the consumer's perspective.
Okay.
And then you provide the solution, and then you give them reason to believe. And your features and attributes and social proof and, testimonials and all that good stuff, that's all reason to believe. I'm saying I can solve your problem. Now give me some information that shows me as a visitor on your website that I can believe you, that you have the capability, that you have done this for other people, etc.
So
It's the same content. It's just turned around.
Interesting. So yeah, you're kind of like flipping it inside out, where I'm just still trying to figure out how to get 3 things done in 5 seconds. Is like, is that like you pretty much have two sentences to get it done and that's it?
Basically, the are you in the right place is usually solved by the branding. So the logo, I was looking for ABC Widget Company, and I arrived in this web page, and there in the upper left-hand corner is a big old logo that I recognize for ABC Widget Company. I'm in the right place.
Okay.
Okay, then there's a big headline in the hero section that makes it very clear the benefit that you deliver to me. How do you solve my problem? And then immediately under that, there's a call to action button that says, for more information, click here, or to book an appointment, click here, or whatever the action should be. It's very clear. It's not confusing.
I would say I just scrolled to the top of your site, and it's exactly what you have. A big title saying "Small business owners, stop fighting with your website." About a quick 3 sentences, and then if a yes, book a call here.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it works. It's hard because it forces. I mean, David Ogilvy, who's one of the founders of advertising, a line that he coined was, the essence of strategy is sacrifice.
Interesting.
And you have taking stuff away is the hard thing to do, but it is so important. I mean, think about a website. Another good analogy is the onion. You've got layers. As people dig in and follow the path that you've created for them on the website, they dig into another page. You want to give them more information on that second page than you gave them on the first page. Purpose of the first page was to get them to the second page, because that tells you what they're actually interested in. And then you want to give them more information on that second page that addresses what they've told you by their action. I mean, it's pretty much common sense. I'm not claiming it's any great flashes of brilliance. It's not, but most people don't do it.
Or kind of like me, I didn't think about it in that context, where it's like you're not making a literal funnel, but you're like, if you get your majority at the top of the funnel, then you go stage down. That's the next page. That's the second page. Then it would be the third page is them checking out.
Well, it could be. It depends on the situation. But yeah, the traditional marketing funnel is shaped the way it is because it's oriented around volume of people. On the top of the funnel, you have lots of people. Mid-funnel, you have fewer people. In the bottom of the funnel, you have even fewer people. So the funnel is shaped that way. The content strategy in the website is the inverse of that. You have lots of people on the homepage, and you need to give them a path. As the path goes deeper into the website, there are fewer people, but they're interested in more information. So from a content point of view, it's the inverse. From a quantity point of view, it's what you traditionally expect.
So for something specific like yours, that's when then the inverse works. You want a lot clicking through, and no, I'm still sounding like the top down funnel. Essentially, you're doing the same thing, but just a different direction, right?
Well, it's about acknowledging the messaging that they've sent to us. If you're a local construction contractor and you've got a homepage and somebody's looking for a construction thing, and you've got 3 big buttons on the homepage, one that says plumbing, one that says electrical, and another one that says roofing, right? It doesn't say very much about plumbing or electrical or roofing. It just says, here's how you find out about electrical. Here's how you find out about plumbing. Here's how you find out about roofing. Here's how you find out about, general construction. And then somebody clicks on one of those buttons, they've sent you a signal. I am interested in roofing. Well, the next page they get to should give them all kinds of good information about roofing.
Basic quotes, but not the actual quotes kind of thing.
And the how you approach it and why you're unique and why your solution to their problem is better than somebody else's solution to their problem, that sort of thing. But don't try to do all of that on the homepage. Right. Because you'll lose people, because people will get confused. And a basic premise of good user experience, UX is the acronym for it, is don't make them think. Make it real easy for them to make a decision about which path they want to take, and then they take that path, and then you give them more information.
Yeah, no, that's very true. That's the big one I'm picking up on in general is you want to simplify it, but not like too simple, because then everyone's going to know what you're doing, but just make it simple enough where they're like, do you want 1 or 2? That's all you get.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Right. And a bifurcation is much more efficient. As soon as you add a third element in, you've increased the options exponentially, because every single option you have on a page, there's also the null set option. I get this question frequently with professional services, lawyers, accountants, that sort of thing. Well, I don't, all my business comes to me by word of mouth. Okay. So I don't really need a website, or I'm not particularly concerned about what my website looks like. So what if it looks like it was built in the 1990s? My point to them is you can't see the null set. If it's a word of mouth reputation kind of thing, executive A will tell executive B about this great CPA that they're using. Executive B needs a new CPA or wants to change. So he goes to the recommended CPA's website and he sees a dog's breakfast. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it hasn't been updated in 10 years. Well, what does the executive B do?
I'll tell you what
he leaves and he doesn't call. That's the null set. You can't see the null set. So we talk a lot about what's the primary objective of the website. And with business to business websites, 8 times out of 10, it's going to be either confirmation or conversion. Confirmation is the one I just talked about, the professional services, where the purpose of the website is to confirm that this company is a viable option and can do the job that they claim they can do, which generates the inquiry from the potential customer. Conversion is more oriented towards, hardcore sales, e-commerce, industrial products, where there's a sales force, that sort of thing, where you're trying to get people to book an appointment or, purchase something directly on the website, that sort of thing. That's a conversion objective. And the words and the design that we use for confirmation and conversion are very different. Different paths, different considerations, different levels of content, different writing styles. But understanding that objective is really important. And frequently people do not understand what their objective is.
So how do you go about teaching your clients about their objectives and how to achieve it?
Well, that's one of our propositions is we don't expect them to do it. We have a whole team of content specialists who will do it for them.
Interesting. Okay.
So I will have the conversation with a small business owner, and I will ask the question, what's the primary objective of your website? And they will, more often than not, give me a litany of things they want the website to do. And then we'll have a little chat about the Highlander movie. If you're a science fiction fan, you'll get that reference. Yep. There can only be one. And I'll say there can only be one. What is the primary objective? It can do other things, but what is the primary objective? And then I'll talk to them about confirmation versus conversion. There's a bunch of others that are, sometimes quite valid, but, and once we settle on that, then that really helps our content specialists understand how to craft the website so that it will deliver on that objective.
That's interesting. I've never heard the confirmation versus conversion theory. That's where I'm trying to think of my website now. It's like, what is it? I'm like, it's a dog's breakfast because there's nothing about it.
Well, your website is a confirmation, should be a confirmation objective.
Right.
Because when I was looking for, and I am looking for podcasts where I can go and share some of this experience with folks, I will go and check out the website. Is this person worth my time? Should I submit an application to speak on this podcast? I mean, what kind of a domain authority does the website have? Because one of the benefits we have as guests on a podcast is backlinks.
Mm-hmm.
But backlinks from a website with no domain authority aren't worth very much.
Yeah.
Backlinks from a website with a domain authority that's higher than your own domain authority are worth a great deal. So as a podcaster, I would be very focused on building the reputation of my website, creating content, getting that content out so that you can build your own backlinks and build your own domain authority, which makes you a more attractive choice. You will attract a better quality of guest.
Interesting. Okay, so then I'm going to ask a personal question. Would that
got your brain going, haven't I?
Yeah, I want to say, now you got me going on that one. So would I need to incorporate blogging, but it wouldn't have to be anything crazy like take the transcript, post it kind of thing, maybe just like a 2-paragraph summary and then put your links underneath it to help you out too?
That certainly helps, yes. But that's not going to help you very much in terms of your domain authority.
Okay.
Another way to go about this is to generate transcripts, have those transcripts edited, and then you put the entire transcript into the blog post.
Okay.
Because that gives keywords to the search bots because they're looking for valuable content. So
I tried doing that. My first one worked, but then I tried to do it again with a more than 30-minute post, and Wix is like, screw you. It's too long.
Well, that's one of the challenges when you're dealing with one of those platforms, which is why 60% of our customers come to us from either Wix or Squarespace, because they get overwhelmed. I mean, they very quickly run across the limits that those platforms provide. They're great platforms if all you need is a presence online, a brochure site. But if you want the site to work hard for you, that's not a good choice.
And that's the biggest one, especially like I was saying earlier, like that's the biggest one I'm realizing I probably need to hire a guy like you because I don't know anything about WordPress. I'd rather pay someone like you and then have you figure it out and just tell me where I need to sign and update kind of thing.
Right. And this is what we wrote our software to make it very easy. We're hiring and training content specialists all the time. These content specialists tend to be stay-at-home moms that are looking for part-time work that pays better than minimum wage and that is interesting. And we train them. They don't even have to know anything about a website before they'll start. We'll give them the training that they need. And then they are building the websites for our small business customers.
That's awesome. So then can we go into more of the software and what you specifically offer with your different packages for people? I'm going to say like me, They're probably just like, okay, that's nice, Josh. You're picking his brain. What does he actually offer?
Well, there's two basic packages. There's the basic package, which is great for someone like you,
Right.
and most small businesses that need a legitimate online presence and something that gives them flexibility, and looks good and presents their business in a professional light. Then there's the basic plus package, and that's for folks that need extra functionality. They want to do online sales, so they have a shopping cart. They want to do courses. They want to have a directory. Real estate agents, where they need to have IDX listings on their website, and oftentimes they'll also have a directory on the website, which is where they list all of the local resources that they recommend that homeowners use when they're getting their house ready for sale. The Basic Plus subscription is designed to, solve the problems for folks who have, slightly more aggressive needs in their website. So it's two basic products: Basic Plus.
I like it. It's really simple or basic. I'm just looking at your pricing. Yeah. So an upfront initial fee of $250, then $100 a month after that. And you just handle everything like the blogs and all that content?
We don't write the content, although we have folks who, that's one of our services that we offer. But we will manage the content. If you provide the content, we will put it up for you.
Okay.
Our point is, we answer the phone. It's not like trying to call. Have you tried to call Wix?
I have. And I've just been left hanging for like hours.
Yeah, didn't go well, did it?
It didn't.
We answer the phone. And now our proposition is that if you need us to take care of all of this, we're more than happy to do that. And you can purchase content support bundles. And our content specialists, we have folks that are spending, $750, $1,500 a month because they're courses or e-commerce sites, and they're very, very busy. And they want to concentrate on their business. For them, it's more cost effective to have us do the work than it is for them to struggle away and try to figure this out for themselves. So they just send us the content and we put the content up on their website for them.
So would it be like, let's say I sign up for your Basic Plus, pay all the fees, and throw in the content thing? Would that be I get like an email like this is your agent you contact, or would it be just pulled together and I have to like label it a certain way so you know what to do with it?
It's kind of a combination. We're not that big a company, so it's not like like you're contacting the government, but we have a support because we build large corporate websites as our day-to-day business. We have a support infrastructure. So we have a maintenance platform that you can contact, and we also are making a lot of these services available on the website. So you just go to the website and say, I need to purchase 10 hours of content support time because I want to create 3 new pages on my website. Or I need you to, I had these employees leave and these new employees come. Here's the pictures and bios. Please make these people go away and please add these people in. For us, that's pretty straightforward because it's what we do all the time. But for the average small business owner, they don't want to be a webmaster. They don't want to climb that learning curve. They're more than happy to pay us to do that for them. And that's the service that we're offering, is that we answer the phone.
Sorry about that. No, that's very key. And personal thing, I want to just ask you, I've noticed this, but I want to hear your input. Have you noticed in general, even though they claim they're all about customer service, they almost are like treating the customer like shit because they just don't have time for it?
I really don't want to get into bashing other people. That's
okay. Sorry.
We feel that this is how we differentiate what we do. Now we're more expensive than Wix or Squarespace.
Well, yeah, you're paying for human labor though.
Well, when you're paying for the service and the fact that, whereas With those platforms, they hand you the keys to a Ferrari and wish you well and don't crash on the highway now. But it's up to you to figure it all out. And contrary to what the fashion model and the TV ad says, it's not that easy. And it's with us, we do it for you. And we have folks that will continue to do it for you once the website is live. If you want, you can also do it yourself. We're happy to train you and you can do it yourself. If you want to. Some people want to do it themselves. That's fine.
No, and it's just only brought that up because you mentioned like you always answer the phone kind of thing. It's like the Wix. I literally, they picked me up and put me on hold, and so really they didn't answer their phone kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes it's a virtual answer. I mean, it's an email. You email us and we'll come back to you. But we're pretty quick about this stuff because we're accustomed to dealing with large corporate websites where responsiveness is really important.
It is. So I'm now just interested in, because you said your basic plus is more for the teaching. So let's say someone's listening is like, great, I need to build a website better. What are the different nuances? Like, let's say maybe it's an online class integrated payment system or membership, or what are the different bells and whistles that your basic plus offers?
Well, that's basically what it is. If you purchase the courses package, then it comes with a whole lot of those sorts of things, but we don't bog you down with the details. We know what needs to be done, and we put the necessary software. We take care of all of that for you. With courses, tends to be two layers of courses. There's most people who are doing courses can get away with a very simple, straightforward solution. There are situations where a much more robust solution is required. Well, we understand how to do both, and we know when one is appropriate and when the other is appropriate. And what you're basically tapping into is our expertise. You may be doing this for the first time. We're not.
Yeah, this is probably your 1,000th time, and you're like, yeah, this is just easy. That's all you want, kind of thing.
Yeah. And we know what the simple solution is. And we see this frequently. Somebody will come to me with, we get a lot of business from Shopify. Folks come to us and say, well, I have this store on Shopify and it's very expensive and I can't really do any of the things I want to do. Shopify is a very templated kind of environment. It's wonderful technology, but it has a very specific way of doing things. They come to us because they're looking for flexibility, and then I'll ask them, so how many products do you have in your store? 1,000, 2,000, 10,000? And they'll say 10.
What?
Yep. And our response will be, you don't need a shopping cart. You can add a credit card to a form and you're good to go. Yeah. And you can do that with a basic subscription. You don't even need the basic plus. And people, because they're ignorant, they don't know. And so we'll say, look, you don't need a shopping cart. You don't need to spend all this money. Can do it with a form.
Yeah, it's like the basic one where you click I want to buy now. Form comes up, name, address. Obviously, you got to get your name, send it to you. Billing information, any notes you want, send it.
The credit card form is right there, right baked into the form.
Exactly. Yeah, the payment information.
Yeah. And then you're done. You don't need a shopping cart. You don't need all of the bells and whistles that come with shopping carts.
Yeah. Yeah, that like you said, if you're offering 500 plus products, then yeah, you might want a shopping cart.
We find the threshold is around 10. If you're offering 10 or less, then you can probably do it quite efficiently with forms. Okay. If you're offering 10 or more, then it starts making sense to use the shopping cart.
Okay, I'm personally curious on this. I was super into it, and then I decided not to because there's a lot of tax problems. If someone actually wanted a drop shipping site, could you build it for them?
Yes.
So then what would that packaging be?
That would be a basic plus.
Okay. And that would be the second tier you were mentioning
Yep.
earlier.
Yeah, we would use WooCommerce and WooCommerce has a drop shipping option.
Okay.
And set it up for you.
Is there, other than the basic plus, is there anything else they would need to do to?
There are some other packages that might make sense. For example, the building of the website is the relatively easy bit. You can build a drop shipping website in a matter of a week or more, but how do you get people to the site?
That was what I wanted to get you to do next, is how do we do the marketing? Is it content? Is it pay-per-click kind of thing?
And there's all kinds of different ways to do the marketing, which is the hub and spoke idea. But you need to understand, you've got to have a hub, which is the website that really functions well. And then you start thinking about the various marketing. And we have marketing packages that you can add on where we're focused on the technology. So we will add the technology that you need to the website for example, create marketing funnels or create sales funnels. And no, they aren't the same thing.
I want to say, is it one or the other, or can you do both?
Typically you should do both, because, there's a lot of misinformation out there. People will use those terms interchangeably. They're not the same thing.
They're not.
And with our marketing package that you can purchase as an add-on, we allow you to do both. We add the technology to the site that allows you to do both.
So I'm curious. You say a package. Let's say I bought the basic plus courses package. Is it just a one-time fee for the courses, or is it like an extra $100 a month for it?
It's the basic plus package has a $500 setup fee, because typically there's more involved in the setup, and then it's $150 a month.
But then let's say on top of all those fees, let's say I want you to do the courses and then maybe the actual like drop shipping. Like I want to sell stuff, but I don't actually want to like have to keep going in kind of thing. What would be the extra for those two?
Well, that's where you purchase content support bundles, where you purchase time from our content specialists who will actually do that kind of work for you. And that's done on an ad hoc basis. You can purchase 10 hours, you can purchase 40 hours.
What's the average going rate? Let's say someone just needs to purchase 10 hours from you guys.
The hourly rate starts at $50 an hour, and then it goes down from there based on how many hours you purchase in a bundle.
And is it, let's say a customer buys like 30 hours, is that for the lifetime of the account or just that month?
No, it's 30 hours until the 30 hours are used up. Then the project manager will let you know that you're coming to the end of your time. And you'll need to purchase another support bundle. We think we need about 3 hours more, or 2 hours more, or 5 hours, whatever it might be, depends on the tasks that are being accomplished.
Okay, that's good to know, because I knew a few sites where services where if you buy it, but it's only good for that month.
Right. I don't think that doesn't seem
fair
reasonable.
at all.
No. I mean, we want you to be a customer for a long time.
Oh, it sounds like, yeah. Just you're the guy. We just like, hey, James, I got a site for you, and here's the money. We know you can get it done. Just tell us if we need to change something, kind of thing.
Right. And I mean, there's a lot of folks out there. Every small town in America has one or two small business marketing consultants or business consultants. And, they're working with their small business customers, and they're probably good at what they do, but, building websites is probably not one of the things that they do well. And yet their customers need the websites. So we're a service that they can turn to. We have an affiliate program, and they can send their customers to us. We'll take care of the website for them and pay them a nice affiliate commission.
What's the average percentage for the commission?
It's a fixed fee.
Okay.
It starts at $125, if I remember correctly.
That's actually really good.
Yep.
That's really nice. An extra little kickback.
And you get to work with a team that's professional.
Absolutely.
It's where we love our marketing customers. I mean, we listen very carefully. Like my customer, for example, we had one marketing guy who did a lot of work with local SEO.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I need the site to allow me to make service area pages quickly and easily. One of the factors in local SEO, if you're covering multiple service areas, you should create a service area page for each of the service areas that you're covering. And, the Yoast local plugin helps you set the data for that, but it doesn't create the pages. So we've created a tool that actually lets the marketing consultant create the pages for the local SEO for service areas. This is great for tying into Google My Business. It's great for local SEO. People who are I'm looking for a roofing contractor near me.
Interesting. So that's the biggest one I'm trying to figure out for local SEO. So is that more like the Google My Business? You need the rank in better, or in general kind of thing?
It's a combination of things. Google My Business is extremely important.
It is.
The map pack, Google Maps, is also very important, and that's tightly connected to Google My Business. Directory listings, citations, that sort of thing is very important. There's some simple tricks that you can do. For example, when you put in your name, address, and phone number into Google My Business will present to you how they're going to present that name, address, and phone number. It's called the NAP. You want to take how Google My Business presents your name, address, and phone number, and that's what you want to use on your website. That's what you want to use in your directory listings. That's what you want to use in your exactly the same. And when you do that simple thing, just being consistent, that's a ranking factor, and that will give your website more authority in Google's mind than somebody who's, sometimes it's street spelled out, sometimes it's ST, sometimes it's, whatever it might be. In every place that this company is listed, their address is slightly different. Sometimes they've got their office phone number on the listing, and sometimes they have their mobile phone number on the listing. That inconsistency, what that says to the computers at Google is that you aren't a serious business. So they won't rank you as highly as they will to somebody who just does that simple thing of being consistent about their name, address, and phone number. Lots of tricks like that.
That's interesting. Yeah, I would never have thought of it that way. Like for me, like the show is not actually producing me money yet. It will soon, but it's one of those, I don't want to start my Google My Business and then put my address down in the middle of nowhere, because I remember them saying like they're going to have to send you a postcard to confirm.
That's correct. They have to confirm that this is your business. Local SEO is important if you're a local business. If you're a national business, it's a national SEO is an entirely different skill sets and different tools. Google My Business isn't nearly as important to you if you're a national business. It's really important if you're a local business.
Okay. So then like if you're national, like Nike or the quickest one I could think of, like they don't have to worry about the local business. It's just more where their headquarters is and their site.
Yeah. Their headquarters is, and they'll have a Google My Business listing. But it's not important to them not as important to them from an SEO point of view, because they're trying to rank nationally.
Which I would take is much harder.
Much harder.
Yeah. Much
harder. I rarely recommend small businesses focus on SEO in the beginning. It can get very expensive and takes a very long time. And there are many other ways to generate traffic and sales. I've got a customer, is an e-commerce customer, who sells a very specific kind of orchid. not orchids in general, not houseplants in general, a very specific kind of orchid.
That's interesting. Okay.
Okay. He and his wife are very focused on maximizing the impact of organic social media. They use the hub and spoke strategy. They have a very clear messaging strategy that they're using. They're not trying to boil the ocean. They've picked one thing and they're trying to do it very well.
Interesting.
And they drive traffic back to the website. He spends very little money on advertising every year, and he's generating over 6 figures in sales.
So is it
selling a very specific kind of orchid?
Is it just Instagram
and Facebook primarily? Yeah.
Wow. Well, the orchid is a very visual thing that would work well with those.
Right. And his target audience is older. So actually Facebook is more important to him than Instagram.
Yeah.
So and there are a lot of groups that focus around these hobbies. And so, I mean, it's a whole strategy that he is focused on, and he's doing very well by doing less.
Right. And then once you can do more with less, or is it, more with less, then you can branch out and do.
You can add other things in. Like for example, he's a public speaker now. Oh, not now. He's always been a public speaker. He speaks at orchid societies across the country, have these events. They kind of stopped during the pandemic, but they've started up. They've started up again. Well, now that he's got the kind of authority that he has, we can do a very good job with paid advertising that's targeted very specifically to the city where he's going to be speaking in next. And he gets pre-orders, tens of thousands of dollars in pre-orders, people who've purchased things from him before he even gets to the event. He just delivers them to him.
That's awesome. So you're the guy we call for when it comes to marketing and websites. Moral of the story. This is the guy we call.
I've been doing it a long time.
So I'm curious from your perspective, being in it so long, what's your take on Facebook and Google's and Apple trying to make data more private now?
It's the natural evolution of things.
Okay.
Things are constantly changing. I mean, when I started in business, computers didn't exist.
Right.
I mean, the fax didn't exist. The advertising agency I worked for was considered very progressive because we had a word processing center. We had 4 women in a room with Wang word processors who would actually produce documents for us. There was a lot of back and forth and corrections and the rest of it, and that was considered very progressive. So, okay. I mean, things change constantly. So we will adapt. I think privacy is important. And what Apple is trying to do, primarily it's being driven by Apple at this point, is, makes a certain amount of sense. And then the industry is going to have to adapt.
Sorry, the little guy was barking. I was going to pause it. The industry, and I think it just caught everyone off guard because what is it, like more than 45% of data is just suddenly missing?
Yeah, it's had a pretty significant impact.
Yeah, and it's one of those, because I listened to a digital marketer for different shows, and that's the biggest one he's saying. He's like, we don't even know fully, because he's like, it hasn't fully rolled out yet. This is only like the first half. He's like, it could be worse. We could lose 60% of our data.
Well, but this is only one part of the marketing program. I mean, this is again where the good old-fashioned email list becomes more and more important, because communicating with your existing customers is going.
Well, congratulations, you made it to the end. You're an awesome person. Not many make it here. So, being the awesome person that you are, can you do me one more awesome favor? can you rate and review this on whatever podcast services you're using? If you do it on Apple and you leave an actual written review, I have a thing on my website. I will take your written review and post it for all to see. Congratulations, you're permanently sealed on my site. Otherwise, I am trying to do YouTube more and live streaming. I will try to put as many of the YouTube links in the description of the show as I can. So give your boy some extra help over on YouTube. Watch my videos. I just mute it and change the channel, change the window or something. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for being awesome, and see you next time.